Well, I think that the best place to start is with the energetic body. And people need to understand that we don't only have a physical body that we are manifested through on this plane, this physical plane, but also an energetic body. Now, before I start with this information, I just want to tell people that if they are only finding this video for the first time and this information for the first time, please watch the important channel and Facebook group update video. There is a playlist that has been created for all of this information, and that is the very first video of the playlist. So it is important that you understand where this information is sourced and how this information will be presented to you. I also just quickly want to reply to some comments that I'm receiving about bring it on, can't wait, when is this information coming, stop with the big build up, as though there's some type of expectation of me bringing this information forward. I just want people to know that I may choose to upload a video once a month. I may choose to upload a video every day. I basically do what I'm guided to do. And so please do not have any expectations of me bringing you information. And please do not think that all you need to do is sit there and just consume this information without actually applying it or going and looking further and trying to gain more knowledge and more wisdom. This is what we all have to be doing in these times. To just expect information to be given to you is basically a form of spiritual sloth. You know, you really need to go and search out this information. Okay, so with that out of the way, I will get into this information regarding the correct positions of our energetic points, and they're also known as chakras. Now, we have 7 chakras, and they are very different. The 2 chakras down the bottom, the sacrum, which is located at the genitals, and we've got the root chakra that is located at the ankle. Now, unfortunately, this is where I'm having a lot of issues with people unable to move beyond the misinformation they've been studying for many years. The New Agey movement has pushed this, and there has been a misinterpretation of where the root chakra is located. And of course, the New Agey movement, who has been heavily infiltrated by those with an agenda, has continued to push this fallacy of the root chakra being located at the bottom of the spine. The root chakra is actually located at the ankles. And these 2 chakras down the bottom are our connection to Mother Earth. So think of Mother Earth and her energy actually locking us into this physical body and on this physical plane through those 2 chakras. That's how we're attached to her, and that's how she attaches to us. So the flow of energy between these 2 chakras is very different than the flow of energy between these chakras here. Now, these chakras are actually part of our energetic body, and they're all connected to the heart. The navel is connected to the heart, and then we have the throat chakra and the third eye. Now, the third eye and the heart work together, and the third eye is also known as the doorway, because this is the doorway to the divine, and the crown chakra is basically God consciousness. So when we are in alignment and the doorway opens, then we actually reach God consciousness. And this cannot be done through meditation. This cannot be done through working on your kundalini. Maybe people like to believe that they are meditating on their kundalini and they're feeling something within them. I'm not taking that away from you, but you are definitely not increasing your potential for enlightenment by meditating. It really is just a tool to clear the mind. And you can do all the energy work you like just using crystals and your chakras. And I would suggest that anyone who is finding it difficult to accept that the root chakra is located at the ankles, go and lay down and place a crystal on every chakra point, as well as one in between your ankles, and feel the difference. Because what you're doing is actually completing the circuit to Mother Earth. This is where it should be. And of course, once we do that, we do realize we have a very powerful energetic body. And this is not what the agenda has been for us to know. It has been to hide this information from us, to make us believe we are merely just manifested here physically in these meat suits. And basically that is what you should look at your avatar as. Now, I'm not saying that means you disrespect your avatar. I'm not saying that that means you don't groom yourself and present yourself with respect and with pride. What I'm saying is that you need to understand that your physical manifested body is really just a container for your energetic body, who is really what you are. You are your energetic body, and your physical manifested body is just your way of being connected into the physical plane, so you can experience this life, and the universe and God can also experience life, because that is how God experiences himself, through us. So a lot of people think that we have no free will at all, and some people think that we do have free will and we can just continue on basically endlessly partaking in anything that is not in alignment with truth and honesty, and there is no repercussions for that. And I'm here to tell you that that is completely incorrect, and that is the reason that the power elite push all of these behaviors upon us and normalize them. Lust, greed, sloth, wrath, all of these 7 sins, as they call them, are actually in truth, and you really do need to pay attention to them. Unfortunately, what religion has done is bastardized everything, and then when we start talking about these things, we either sound like a complete religious fundamentalist, and fanatic, or, people think that we're, just pulling information from a Bible that can no longer be looked to as any truth. Now, in fact, the Bible does have a lot of truth, and this truth can be found when you know what to look for. I know that these 7 chakras are basically connected to our 7 gates to God consciousness, back up to the top here. And so look at these 7 chakras as also the 7 gates to God, and you will see that mentioned in a lot of mythology. The 7 gates of the underworld, with Inanna from the Sumerian legend talks about this, how she has to travel through these 7 gates to be reunited, with God, to fulfill her mission. And this is basically what we're all doing. We're all ascending up the 7 gates back to God consciousness, to realign back with God. But, the universe is nature. God is governed by nature's laws and principles as well. And so when we come back into alignment with the light of Orion, Osiris, Odin, which comes around at the end of a 26,000 year cycle, we are basically measured and weighed to see if we are worthy of going through into Zep Tepi, the first time of the new cycle, as a highly conscious soul. Now, God is not going to destroy himself, so God is not going to allow someone with an evil heart, an evil intent, to move through and be gifted with high consciousness, because that would eventually destroy God. So he's, as I basically have explained to others when I'm trying to, give them an understanding, is, look at a turtle who comes up onto the beach and she lays 100 eggs. Well, only 50 eggs are going to survive, and even less by the time these little turtles are in the water swimming around. So, it's survival of the fittest. It always is. And even with our souls, the both female and male soul, it is only the souls that are in true alignment with their heart that are the ones that are gifted, and basically the ones that move through to complete this cycle once again. And we are actually infinite. We are immortal in our energetic body, but there is a responsibility to that, and that is to ensure that we always stay in alignment. And this is the reason that we see that the agenda has been to push all of these debased and these types of behaviors towards us and normalize them. So we think it's completely normal for us to act in these ways. In fact, if we don't, we're actually looked at as someone who is lacking. And it's actually the other way around. All of these people that are partaking in all of these behaviors are accountable, and they will actually be judged. We all will. And I know that sounds very religious and very fanatic, but believe me, from what information I have, This is the truth. So as I've said before, you can take this information or leave this information. It is completely up to you. So we have the 7 gates to God, and all of these chakras can be aligned with different frequencies, also numbers. Some numbers are attached to these chakras, and I will go on with that, and it's all basically connected to the Fibonacci sequence, but I will actually address that later. I just wanted to give you an idea of the correct positioning of our energetic points and have this information as the very basis from where we begin. So on the left, we also see the caduceus. Now, a lot of people have interpreted this as being the male-female energy in the left and right side of the brain. Now, yes, that's true. We do actually see this represented in here as well, because we do have a right and a left side, a female and a male side energetically to us, the positive, negative. But first and foremost, the caduceus is symbolizing the twins, souls returning back to God. And we often see that with the caduceus, they leave the bottom chakras off. And this is because the alchemists and the hermeticists knew that the 2 bottom root chakras were a different energetic system. And these were our attachment to Mother Earth. And we see that when we come through the pineal gland or the third eye chakra, we see that there is a rope. And so it's almost like a doorway through to the crown chakra, which is God consciousness. And so this is the ascension of the twin souls moving back towards God consciousness to re-emerge and then be rewarded with first time once again to journey through this 26,000 years of the precessional cycle. And during that time, we are given many opportunities to, work through our challenges and our tests, because basically before we are incarnated here for the very first time from God's spark with our twin, God actually shows us our destiny, and we are given the choice as to whether we will accept that or we will go back to God's source. Now, when people are not in alignment with their chakras and I call them this alignment because I imagine that this is the path to God, and it's the straight and narrow path. It's the gateways back up to God consciousness. Now, if you're not in alignment, if you're too much this way or too much this way, this can be taken back to the weighing of the heart ceremony against the feather. Now, the feather actually symbolizes Orion, and you can see this in a lot of the depictions of the Orion constellation. And Orion is also the Fool card in the Rider-Waite Tarot deck, as well as the older Visconti Tarot deck. You will see that Orion is clearly shown with the club, and he has feathers in his hair. The old constellation maps show that Orion has feathers in his cap, and the Rider-Waite Tarot cards has Orion also with a feather in his cap. So we are being weighed against the light of Orion. If we are too one way or the other, then we are too heavy or light. And this is exactly what the Egyptians said, that if your heart was too heavy or your heart was too light, then you were not in alignment, so you did not go through. So as I said, this is just nature. This isn't a vengeful act. It's just that those that are not in alignment and are not working through their heart and are not good souls are rejected. They do not come through, and basically they go back to God's source. Now, my idea of God's source is the middle of the galaxy. That white core is God's source atom, and this is also overseen by Nut. These are Egyptian gods, and I'll go into that more. So basically what happens, and this is what the Egyptians also said about the weighing of the heart ceremony, is that when we go back to source, we are devoid of who we were. So we basically get stripped clean of any identity of self, and we become just God energy again, waiting for Orion to think us into existence, or any other nebula that's in our galaxy, because they are all thought projections that are manifesting onto some planet. Ours is planet Earth, Gaia from Orion, Osiris, Odin, and there are others also that are manifesting their realities and thoughts onto other planets. And so I also have this Hindu 1899 illustration showing the root chakra at the ankle once again, and it's not meaning that it's at the tailbone, otherwise they'd show the tailbone. Well, I'll leave it here, guys. Peace out.